Good evening and welcome to the Foxborough Conservation Commission meeting for Monday, October 5th. Welcome everyone, and as usual, we're televising this and holding the meeting in conjunction with Governor Baker's COVID-19 social distancing laws. Do we have any public comments at this time? If not, do we have some minutes you want to approve, Jim?
Yeah.
The August 24th minutes, Judy had a couple comments, and she pointed out that since the meeting was...
Could you get the mic?
Sorry. Judy pointed out that since the meeting was televised,
Yep.
there were some things that she didn't necessarily think weren't included. So I started to watch the televised meetings today, and I would like to wait to
So hold off on the
hold
August
off
24th.
on them.
Okay.
All right, so we can start with the July 13th minutes.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I looked at, did I write that I looked at those? Or did you look at them?
I mean, Diana sent them out some time ago.
Yes,
So you-
but I've been busy on a few things, so I haven't had a chance to review them, and the
You tell
minutes
me.
seem to be pretty critical these days. What did I say? I don't even recall. It's
July
in-
13th was just the Lakeview Pavilion and West Street.
Okay. Oh, all right.
Do you feel comfortable?
I guess, if you feel comfortable, did you look at them?
I did. I thought they were well-written.
Cool.
I'll make, unless anyone has any comments, changes, I'll make a motion to approve the July 13th, 2020 meeting minutes.
Do I hear a second? Oh,
Second.
First of all, Jeff, are you on?
Didn't I put anything about that? I thought I did.
It doesn't seem,
Oh, that's what it was.
Send me a text.
Diana, any reason why that screen is
It's-
not?
Their view is probably impeded.
Do we have Jeff? I guess we don't have Jeff, but we do have a quorum, so. Motion's been made. Do we have a second?
I second.
Discussion? All in favor of approval of July 13th?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
On those.
Okay.
I got a call from Jeff. What's going on?
Are you broadcasting this?
No, I'm just, in order for me to throw stuff up on the screen, I gotta be logged in.
So no one else can get in, I guess.
Bill just told me that this is the number. That's the passcode. I was trying to email him.
All right, I'm gonna shoot you a text with the phone number and the password to get in. Try that. Yeah. You ready? I'll send it along. Is that a 9 or an 8?
I think it's an 8. Bill, is this 8798817? Or 9817?
Can't read your writing.
You have that memorized?
All right, 879-8817-0170.
The joys of televised meetings.
I know.
I'm going to let David read it because I left my glasses at home. I wear them for reading sometimes.
Okay. We're holding on the August
Yeah.
24, and then might hold in September.
Okay. Did Jeff get in? David, why don't you go ahead and read the notice while we're trying to get him in.
Foxborough Conservation Commission, notice of public hearing pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Foxborough's Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Chapter 267. The Conservation Commission will open a public hearing on Monday, October 5th, 2020, at 7:05 p.m. in the Gala Meeting Room, Foxborough Town Hall, 40 South Street, on a notice of intent filed by Matthew and Maria Hugo for the installation of a seasonal dock, repair of existing wall and steps, and landscape modifications at 88 Ridge Road, Assessors Map 34, Parcel 10. Portions of the proposed work lie within 100 feet of a resource area. The application is available for public inspection in the Conservation Office at the Town Hall, Monday through Thursdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. This notice can be found on the Massachusetts Newspaper Publishers Association website.
Thank you. Mr. Buckley?
Mr. Chairman, I'm actually trying to share a screen here. So we can,
That's a phone number with a passcode, there's more. Give me 1 second.
so Mr. Chairman, Jim's. Wait
Trying to
just
get
a
our,
minute.
yeah, okay. We can wait a minute.
He doesn't know what it is, we can't turn it off. There's no life support in there, I don't know what it is.
You want that, Jim?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think he's gonna join us.
Go ahead, Mr. Buckley.
Do you want to wait?
No, that's all right, Will. Please sign in.
So, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. For the record, my name is Bill Buckley from Bay Colony Group, and I'm here representing the McHugos. With us this evening is Mr. Matt and Maria McHugo to the left, and also with me this evening is Matt Brackett from Brackett Landscape, and he'll be also available as part of the discussion. So let me just start with just a description of the property. This is 88 Ridge Road. So if you came down Ridge Road, I think most everybody's probably been down there. It's a peninsula. You come to the end of the peninsula, take a left, and it is not the house on the very end, but the house next to the end. This house was actually had a fire back in 1999. A fire damaged the structure. It was rebuilt under a negative determination with the commission, and some additional work was done in the backyard. The site itself is only about 9,300 square feet, and I think everybody, I see Mr. Opaka's got the big plan out. That's a good plan to put up, and it's the same as what I'm going to show you here. What I want to do is zoom in on it a little bit so you can get a better view. I know it's difficult with the white, but so you can see the lot. It's a small lot. You can see the home pretty much takes up the entire lot. So the home is in this area here. The lot is about 9,300 77 square feet. And it's, again, hard to see, but this is the 100-foot buffer zone, because the reservoir kind of wraps around this peninsula, something like this. So the 100-foot buffer is here, and the 100-foot buffer is there. So the entire rear yard, which is this portion here, which is what we're talking about, lies within the buffer zone. So the site currently has, the home sits on it, there's a deck in the back, and there is also a stone patio underneath the deck. The rear is grass for the most part. There's a block wall that runs along a portion of the side, along the back, and here there are steps that come down. These are also block that come down between the walls, and then it goes down to, it's hard to see on this plan, but you can see it on yours. There's wooden stairs currently there that go down to the water. This area here is heavily vegetated with, I guess, what invasive species, or they're really ugly species. It's a steep, very steep area. It probably has about a 7, well, I don't have to give you, it's a 275 to 268. So it's about a 9-foot drop. You can see that it's a 9-foot drop in a small area. I would say it's better than a 2-to-1 slope, somewhere between 1.5 to 2-to-1 slope. So that kind of paints the picture for you here of what we have, that it exists. So what we're proposing, what we've done is the McHugos have purchased this land this year. It's just recently been purchased. And what they've done is they have hired me, and they've also hired Mr. Brackett in order to assist them in what I would call rehabilitating the backyard. We've had a site walk with Ms. Pierce and Mr. Bodie on the rear of the property, gone over, and I say sidewalk, it was myself, the McHugos, and Matt, to talk about, what we wanted to do. It's actually gone through several iterations since they started this at the beginning. It's actually a little bit more intensive than what you're seeing this evening. So we've cut it back as a result. Some of it's as a result of discussions with me, some as a result of discussions with the professional staff and Mr. Bodie. So what we're proposing this evening, what we're showing you, and it's, again, hard on, you can see it on this, but I'm going to put up Matt's rendering in a moment, but I want to use this to show. So the scope of work is, I'm going to start at the house, and I'm going to move toward the water. So the scope of work is to build a shed next to the house. I know it's hard to see. Underneath the deck that is there and extending out a little bit, they want to create a concrete patio. On top of that patio will be a jacuzzi. They show a fire pit out here, just out into the backyard. There's a little flagpole down on the corner here. As we move down toward the property, it's impossible to see it. So you'll see it on the next drawing I'm going to show you. Behind the wall, we're proposing to plant a stone trench about 2 feet by 2 feet, 2 feet wide. And what the purpose of that would be is to intercept any runoff coming down toward the reservoir and actually off toward the neighbors. There's actually some erosion back there you can see already. So what that will do is that will capture it and infiltrate it into the ground. The soils here are excellent for that type of work. What you don't see here, but what will be done, is that the wall, even though it's not that old, it is deteriorating. So the cap is, you can see the concrete is doing, so the caps will be replaced on the wall. Coming down the steps, the steps are going to be replaced with, what do we say we're going to replace those with? They're going to be natural granite steps. And then going down toward the water, we're going to replace the wood stairway that's there, which again needs some work, with natural stone steps. We propose they propose to have a dock in there. Right now there is no dock. This will be a roll-in, roll-out dock, which the commission has seen in the past and has authorized. So it's 3 different sections, and you can see the area it is. And then most importantly, or, well, not most importantly, let me move back up here a little bit. They also propose to create a 6 by 10 foot composite deck that's level with the bottom of the wall. So you'd walk down the stairs, and then there's like a landing there, and that's the bottom of the wall as well. So this deck would be placed over here on the right side, which is already a flat area. There's actually some type of concrete substructure or foundation in that area, or I don't know what it is. So this will be placed, it's a deck, and it will be placed on piers. So it's not going to be, we're not taking the ground. Originally, what we were thinking of doing is filling it and pouring a concrete pad. Again, in discussions, we said, okay, we're not going to do that. We'll just put it on piers. So it will sit above the grade actually there, and the piers will be hand dug. There's 2 areas that are currently, I talked about, currently have quite a bit of invasive species, or at least definitely well overgrown species in here. This area is kind of barren. And so what we're proposing is in those areas to do some plantings. And I'm going to put up another plan. If you want to look at it in your book, if you go to Appendix B, which is near the rear of the book, it is, you'll see the renderings that are there done by Mr. Brackett. And none of these are the ones I want. Let's see. Let me find it. That's the one I want. That's the one I want. So I want to go back here. That's not it. Let me get out. Back. There it is. So that's going to come up in a moment. So this is actually the first drawing that you'll see in the rear. And what this is it shows, it's a rendering. And you can see in that appendix, there are quite a few more renderings that Mr. Brackett's firm has prepared. But I think this one tells, at least from my point of view, was what's going to happen along that back slope. So if you go from left to right, you can see over here on the left side, there's a code on the type of plantings that are going to go there. You can see that it's A through H, and then it corresponds with the plantings down there. And in addition, you can see there are A1 through A6. So those are existing bushes that are there that will be retained, because we're not going to go in and clear cut. There's also a portion of that appendix, Mr. Brackett has given a narrative of how he intends to do the work. And then once I'm done, you can ask those questions and he can address them if it's not clear in that appendix. But you can see the A1 through A6, which shows the existing bushes that are going to be retained. The other ones will be removed by hand, and then the A through H plantings will be placed. So this gives a good pictorial vision of what is going to happen. So you can see, if you kind of follow my hand here, you can look on the top, you can see the patio being placed under the deck. Is the shed over here on the left side, the jacuzzi, the fire pit. On top of the wall, the existing wall, you can see the new cap, and then behind the wall, it doesn't show it that good. There are other plans in there. You can see there's a stone trench. There are plantings in that trench that were placed, that are deliberately done in order to capture and be able to live in that environment. Over here to the left, you can see the small patio. It's just meant for a couple of chairs to sit there, to be able to look out and fish from that area. You can see the stones coming down, the natural granite stones coming through. You can see these other stones that are going to be interspersed. These are natural boulders that will be interspersed along that slope. Again, in addition to the plantings, these stones will hold the slope, which is actually one of the standards we need to meet in that area. And then, of course, the dock down at the end. So I think that's a good, well, let me talk about access. The site, I'm not going to go back to my other drawing, but maybe I'll put up another one. The site is, it's kind of tough to see. But over here on the left side, as you look at it, again, this is one of the renderings. Over here on the left side, there is a small space between the house and the property, but it's really too small for access. Access will be over here on the right side as you look at this drawing. So there's actually the McHugo's driveway is over there. So anything coming into the site will come in through that area, and that's where all the activity will take place. On the sequence of construction in the memo I sent with you, you can see it. We want to do this fall. Water table, the water level is low right now. We want to do the buffer zone restoration, put the post and footers in for the composite deck, replace the wall cap and construct a stone trench, remove the existing stairs and replace it with the granite stones. Next spring, patio and deck construction, installation of the seasonal dock, flagpole installation, and installation of the sod. And the reason for the sod is it's expensive to put sod in, even though it's a relatively small area, but it eliminates the need for a lot of fertilization. So what they can do is, it goes in, as long as you water it, when there's plenty of water, it will take without a lot of fertilizer or a lot of chemicals. Next summer, hot tub and fire pit and shed installed. And of course, the sequence is subject to change based on weather and things like that. I mean, hopefully it will be accelerated if we have a nice mild winter like we had last year, but it could also be pushed off if we had a winter like we had 2 or 3 years ago. So that finishes my presentation, Mr. Bodie, and if there's any questions that I can answer, also Mr. Brackett is here to answer specific questions about activities that he'll be doing, and of course the McHugos are here to talk about their vision for their home.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Jane? Or you want to wait?
Wait for it.
Mr. Brackett?
I'll wait.
Okay. Jeff, welcome. Oops, just lost you.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can take this.
Here.
I can stop
Okay,
sharing.
all right. Good.
Is there more coming?
What I was hoping is you would ask us questions that Matt could answer, but if you want him to talk about his, he can just give you a spiel on his work.
Do you have, Bill, the, like the plan with the, I mean, since I don't have that with me, I don't know where it went, but with the, like, where's the 25 foot and all that stuff?
Yes, I can put that one back up. So this is the plan that has a 25-foot no disturb zone. You can see it in the dots along here. I'm moving my hand. And you can see that all of this area is in the 25-foot no disturb. The wall is in it, the grass is in it, and then the rest of the activity is within the 100-foot buffer zone.
So Bill, what are the existing conditions? I didn't get a chance to walk down there to see it.
Sure.
I know the shed is new.
The shed is new. Underneath the porch, which is, as you can see it, if you look at your drawing, it's easier. This is the porch.
Right.
So underneath that stone, and what they want to do is build this patio underneath it, which will stretch out further than that.
So there's an existing pad underneath it.
No,
It's not,
it's just gravel.
yeah, it's nothing,
So
it's
a gravel
not,
pad?
nothing impervious.
Because you got here a stamped concrete pad.
That's that's what we're proposing. So what I try to do is I put the light stuff in what's there and the heavier stuff in what's going to happen, which hopefully makes it easier to read, but sometimes not.
Now, that's going to be basically a solid concrete pad then.
Yes, stamped concrete patio.
So how much impervious area extra impervious area are you?
It adds about, the additional impervious area with the shed and the pad is about 400 square feet, roughly. Adds about 5% impervious to the lot. Because the lot's around 9,700, I think it's 9,700 square feet.
Are the existing roof drains draining out the back of the house?
Yes, they just dump, they don't go anywhere, that we saw anyways. But what's gonna happen is, what we were talking about is, you can see on the contours, everything pitches that way. It's all going toward the wall, which is actually undermining the wall now. But the stone trench is gonna capture it. I was telling Jane and Mr. Bodie when we were on the sidewalk, we had a project over on Lake Pearl, where we did this type of thing, much denser. I mean, this house and took up the whole lot. So everything was going that way. So we put a stone trench on the wall, which was that type of wall, actually. And what it does is it captures, and they have grass, and it captures the runoff and infiltrates it into the ground. So anything coming in that direction now is going to be captured by that and controlled, as opposed to now where it is not.
I guess I do have a couple comments.
Okay.
We talked about impervious surfaces. We talked about not making the pad underneath the hot tub impervious. We talked about creating some kind of a buffer zone planting along the wall and a rain garden to catch.
Say, Jane, I can't hear you.
Oops. And a rain garden to catch some of the water coming off of the roof.
Yeah,
But and also I was not really fond of sod lawn, because I don't know, depending on what it is, it's gonna take a lot of maintenance probably, as opposed to something like the, drought tolerant lawns that have deep roots, which I've been experimenting with at my house. Probably won't look as nice as sod, but I kind of cringe to see sod on waterfront properties, because it doesn't give a very good message there, as we talked.
right. You're right. What Jane says is true. So what we did is we took, if you look along, again, look at the top of this. Let me put the other plan there. So this plan here, again, so along the top of the wall, so along the top of the wall is the stone trench area, and we've planted low bush blueberries and morning light grass along the top there in order to, again, to capture the runoff and infiltrate it, which is really what a rain garden does. It captures the runoff and infiltrates it, and it used plantings along there. So we didn't call it a rain garden, but it has the same function as a rain garden. And it also allows, instead of digging up, trying to route gutters and stuff through the area, this captures the runoff. Anything coming off that patio is going to be captured by it. It is impervious, but this captures all the runoff because of the topography. It's going in that direction and infiltrating it into the ground. So that's why we did that the way we did it, instead of putting something like a rain garden in it. And as far as a sod, I know we disagree on that. Jane would love to see, and you said it, you'd love to see the weeds.
I saw the lawn, I said, good job.
She loved the weeds, but most homeowners want something that looks nice, especially, in a usable backyard. So this is what we would ask the commission to consider. We think we've taken all the things you've told us and tried to work it into a design that accomplishes what you wanted to do, maybe not exactly the way you wanted to do it, or recommended, but it does accomplish the goals that you articulated to us.
I'm wondering how blueberry bushes are going to grow in 2 by 2 feet, 2 by 2 feet of gravel. or white stones. I don't really think that's going to work.
That's, Matt can answer that.
Well, there's already material in the ground.
Yeah, but Bill said it would be 2 feet deep and 2 feet wide with stone. And if you're planting blueberry bushes in there, they don't mind the dry.
Are you allowed to bring in like loam to plant on top of that wall? So like you'd have like your plant in the loam and then stone all around it?
I think,
I'm asking because I don't know, I'm just,
well, I think that if you have native plants, you kind of plant the plants that want to grow in the types of soil that you have, and the types of soil are probably kind of sandy. That's
Yeah.
why I had mentioned bearberry and things like that. They take all kinds of abuse. They're green, they stay low. But even those, I don't know, they grow in sand at the Cape, but I don't know about white. I'm picturing little white stones, like smooth or broken edges or,
Bill, I don't think you mean that you're gonna have stone 2 feet deep in that, along that trench. I think you only want to have stone.
that's what he said, though.
No, we
Well, you
need,
said 2 foot wide, but I'm not
He said
seeing
2
here
feet
it's
deep,
gonna be
too.
2 feet deep.
we need
No.
volume.
It's like a drywall, right?
I need
yeah.
volume, I need the volume to
Yeah.
infiltrate it. So
That
I'm
whole
capturing a
wall.
lot of runoff. I
Okay.
do need that, size that. Perhaps what we can do is, I'm gonna throw this at Matt, wall, dirt, stone. And then you can plant your plants in the dirt. How wide of a space do you need behind the wall to plant the plants?
Foot?
Okay, so we can do wall, dirt, stone. We're still gonna intercept everything coming off the yard, but then you'll have a space between the stone and the wall, the dirt, if that's,
Yeah, because you're capturing the water that much closer to the house versus that retaining wall. Because that retaining wall is literally separated. Like if you're looking at the stair, like if you're on the stairs and you look to your left or your right, you can see separation in the retaining wall. And it's because all that rainwater, there's nothing on the lawn right now to hold any of that water. So it's all hard pack and weeds. And so the water is just running right off and it's going down into that retaining wall. It's literally corroding. Like you can take pieces of stone and just flake it apart. And we're just trying to eliminate that. We're trying to use what's there and make it look nice, but at the same time, make it effective.
So you're gonna have, Bill, so you're talking about having the wall, dirt, then stone?
Yes.
All right. I'm trying to figure out how that's gonna look like. Or how you gonna get 2 feet of dirt in behind 2 feet of stone? How's that gonna?
Going to leave the dirt that's there, right?
Yeah,
All
we
right.
just leave the dirt the
it won't
same.
be 2 feet of dirt, it'll be dirt till
Okay,
the bottom of the world, and then we'll just dig the stone out behind
Okay.
it. The idea is just to get it down below the,
I'm tracking with the idea of capturing the runoff before it gets there. And yeah, if you have the dirt there, maybe that'll capture some more of the sediment or nutrients before they get to the watershed.
The thing is, what you had said earlier, Bill, was that most of this site is the house and such. So I'd be curious to know what % impervious areas the site have now and what you're proposing as a % of the lot. Because we did talk a lot about runoff, and we did talk a lot about infiltration, and having a cement patio, although it sounds nice and neat and clean, it's kind of exacerbating the situation rather than making it better.
well, it's going to increase, it's going to increase the lot coverage by 5%.
And what is the lot coverage now?
So it's I don't have what it is now. But the stamped concrete's 500 square feet. So,
And the shed?
what is it, 10 by 16, that's less than 200 square feet. It's 160. And you're looking at 9,700. So I don't know what the existing lot coverage is, 9,600 square feet.
It's just that we hold, we ask everybody what percentage pervious versus impervious is going to be on the site, and we basically have to ask everyone the same questions, hold them to the same standards.
I can give you that, I'll get you that information. I'll get you that information.
If push comes to shove, can you reduce the size of the patio a bit just to make sure that you're in conformity with the impervious? Just drop the patio back.
Yes, I mean, we could certainly do that, but my question would be, why?
Well,
What's the
Your
purpose?
percentages of impervious surface, that's,
We're definitely increasing. I mean, we're
Yeah.
definitely gonna increase it.
Yeah.
But in Foxborough, there is, for a single, I should know this, for a single-family home, there is no impervious standard. There is no standard in the zoning, and there's actually no standard in the DEP stormwater standards or anything like that. It's just performance standards, which is, usually has to do with runoff. So even though we're adding more runoff, we're capturing way more than we're adding. So I could definitely do that, but, I'd rather you tell me what are we trying to do, and then let me try to figure out how to do it. But if if it's just a question of, push it back 4 or 5 feet, okay, we'll look at that.
How about at the staircase, you're gonna try to catch any stormwater? Or push it over into these two trenches?
Yes.
At the wall?
Yeah.
Like have a lip or something?
Yeah, maybe we'll have to grade it so that it
Okay.
doesn't go down the stairway,
Yeah.
because then we'll just erode them.
So you're not going to remove any of the wall that's on other people's property?
No. Nope. Everything that's there, we're going to leave intact and try to preserve what's there.
Are there gonna be outlets in the wall for water to run out if you get just a heavy rainstorm? If you can't,
Any pellets?
no, just,
No,
in the,
pipe going
Like drill through
yeah,
the,
just to allow it to come out?
You know what, it's so heavy there. I don't even, is there one there?
there's nothing in there now. There's nothing, right now, there's no holes going through that, other than the fact that it's pushed and there's separation. But yeah, other than that, there's no drainage, like no PVC pipe that runs through the wall or anything.
Yeah, I didn't see any, but it's.
Yeah, I looked for
really-
it, those.
Really heavy, so, okay. So there isn't one. That really doesn't help.
Yeah.
Unless there's, like, that wall should, I don't know how the wall is built. There's no plans. They should, behind this wall should be stone with a pipe, coming out. But if they just backfill behind it, have you dug behind it? If they just backfill behind it, then you can put the pipe in, but it's not gonna do anything because the water won't get to it. So, we weren't gonna do a major rebuild of the wall.
Okay.
After you move the weeds and you do your plantings, it doesn't really say what are you going to put on the surface.
So basically, it's going to be an ongoing process as far as trying to maintain the invasives that are there. So I have some notes, and we remove all the plants, we cut them as low as we can, and we paint on the glyphosate on the roots just to keep them down. And then I tried to, I tried to identify majority of all the invasives that are in there, and it's just completely engulfed. And what's going on is all the invasives that are there now are suffocating any plant material that's there. It's not allowing some of the smaller oak or maple, whatever, the saplings to actually grow. And there's a nice willow tree that's right beside it that, there's bittersweet that eventually it's going to start to crawl its way up the tree and choke it out. It's loaded with sumac. It's got spiderwort, goutweed, bishopweed, honeysuckle. Again, by removing all of that, and I tried to incorporate, and again, it's in the description. I tried to incorporate things that were native to the area, things that'll promote birds and attract butterflies, stuff like that, fruits.
Well, how are you
But
going to
I
stabilize?
think the question is, are you going to put mulch on?
No, it's a natural. This is just a natural planting. Because
Okay.
we're trying not to disturb anything that's down there. We're trying to minimize anything that's could potentially go into the water. That's why if we just cut everything, paint it on, and then, again, we won't put any mulch down or anything like that. We were looking to try to put in some larger boulders, again, with the erosion factor, because anything that you can help keep that runoff up closer, I think is just gonna help us. So if we were able to put some boulders in there as well.
I think that was your question.
So when you.
Yeah.
I'm
Did that
sorry,
answer,
When you
or-
go ahead and,
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, because naturally people, after a while, they might want to go mulch it to try to control the weeds. And, what are you doing in the meantime within a year or two?
I told Matt and Maria it's an every year. This is something that's on the water like that is going to be every year. It's going to be a process to maintain it and to keep everything down. Because you're never going to, like if you saw it now, it's just loaded with sumac. Sumac and bittersweet.
So
It's
you
just.
let the natural weeds, good or bad.
But there's nice stuff in there. There's vinca, there's the sweet pepper bush is all over the place that you can't. It's again, there's raspberry in there, so.
You might think of the natural ground cover.
Have you seen
yeah,
it,
that's what I
David?
was gonna ask.
No, I
Dave, is there
didn't get a
a
chance to
ground
go down
cover
there.
you could put up there?
I'm sorry, Jeff?
What's Jeff saying?
What's that, Jeff?
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there a ground cover that could be put on in place that would, take care of that as well as the plantings, the other, higher plantings you're gonna do?
I think bearberry would be a great plant to put there as a ground cover. It takes abuse.
We looked at, right?
What?
The green ones that we looked at, that we saw that there?
No, bearberry is a low-growing ground cover.
Okay.
So
He's got northern bayberry down as one of the plantings, Jane.
the bayberries should be good because they'll also, if you think of it like a Cape Cod situation with lots of sand. You got bayberry, you've got the low-growing, what I just said, the bearberry,
Bearberry.
bayberry. The only thing, my main comment about this is you're complaining about all the water that goes down to the wall, but it's almost like you're encouraging it to go there now. Instead of maybe putting that nice perimeter around the impervious surfaces you have up near the house to infiltrate it there, start infiltrating it there, you're kind of saying, come on down here, next to the wall,
Some stone
and then
on
go
it.
into there, go in, it just doesn't,
So
it's counterintuitive as far as I know.
if we were to, because the natural grade goes from that house and goes down anyway. So I like that idea though of capturing it at the house. Like if you're able to capture, say, majority, and then if you still have, again, that 3/4 stone that we're talking about on top of the wall, it doesn't have to incorporate plants if you don't want it to. It's anytime that we build stone walls now, there's always 3/4 stone that goes in behind it regardless.
Well, underground, it should
No,
probably.
it goes up to the top as well.
Does it? Well, without any weep holes or anything like that, you probably make weep holes now, don't you?
Not necessarily, no.
No?
No, because when we start fresh, you dig down to the very bottom. And, and you put 3/4 stone as a base, where we don't have that, we're not able to do that right now. You have to make different
Improvise.
decisions, I guess, so.
Well, and also, I'd like to point out that I don't know if you guys didn't go to this or not, there are a lot of plants that have been cut down, especially on the left-hand front side, that I was pointing out to the homeowners, and they were all excited about them. They're like low bush blueberries and sweet pepper bush and such. So a lot of the plants that are not able to grow, like that you're mentioning, like the red oak, it's because they've been cut.
Well, we saw some stuff, remember, that was starting to pop
Invasives
up
aren't helping
through-
any, but
Yeah.
there were a lot of oak that had
Sure,
been cut.
and we're willing to, I want to be able to work on this project, so like if there's
And I
things
want
that.
you to, too.
that
I
we
want
can
someone who knows
leave.
about this stuff.
Sure, and I did a
Yeah.
lot of research. I have a lot of notes on this. I tried to find plants that are drought resistant, things that'll grow in rocky soil, and that's what I have on the list. Again, Christmas fern, stuff like that.
Nice,
So,
good.
So that's a good point, Jane. We'll look at that, capturing the runoff closer to the source. Good
I
idea.
would, because it's like saying, come here to the wall, and then you can go into the into the ground and make it more of a problem. I can see where you're coming from, but it seems counterintuitive to me.
No, I think it's a good point. We'll look at that.
And I think when we had talked, I had mentioned putting a buffer from the wall back a bit, like a natural planting area. because the roots and the plants will absorb a lot of the water. You know, the more roots you can get in there from low-growing shrubs and such, the more water they're going to absorb, as well as trees, but you obviously don't want trees up there.
I know, and you're right, and we did talk about that, and what we'll
We
do.
talked
is-
a lot.
We had a lot of good, that was a
We
great
had fun.
conversation, great conversation. But I think one of the things we did say is, there's also a balance. The balance is, the environmental issue, which of course is what you're focused on. There's also a balance of homeowners want to be able to use their home. And they don't want to make the backyard into we already have the Blaine property as the beautiful,
Well, it's a work in progress. Yeah.
schoolyard for the town. So it's a balance, but we'll definitely, we're gonna look at that runoff. We'll look at the plantings again at the top of the wall and how we can integrate them better and make sure that they're growing in the media that we put them in.
So how long are you going to guarantee the plantings?
Well, we always guarantee, we actually give them lifetime.
So is the intention for that area to just completely fill in and naturalize? Like
Naturalize.
the rest of the natural waterfront, for example, at the Lane property and such?
Natural. That's
Right,
the key.
It's not going to be like make for pretty, keep.
No, like
keep.
there's not even mulch going in. That's why I thought if we could try to fill in some of the voids with some of the larger rock, it's a dual purpose. It helps erosion and it looks good
Yeah,
too.
Yeah.
And that's why we kind of went with like the curve of the stairs as well. So it just, with not being able to do a whole lot down by the water, you have to kind of be creative. And, I took what you said with the curves and everything like that, and I looked into it, so.
No, that looks great. I don't want anyone to be able to point at that and say, well, they were able to do all this work in the 25-foot no activity zone. Why can't I? This is just what always sort of happens. So all of those native plants that have been cut over on the left-hand side are no longer going to be cut, correct? Like the.
Where the sweet pepper bush was, I remember we were over
pepper,
there.
Blueberry, yeah.
Yeah, that's all staying. None of that's coming out. Anything that's down by the water down there is, on the left-hand side, is going to
It's not going to be
stay.
like mowed down.
No, that is all staying as is.
Okay.
And then if we were able to put in either some, what did I have in there? Like some blue flag or something like that.
Cardinal flower.
Yeah?
Try cardinal flower. That's like my favorite.
Okay.
Now, that's something that you.
Let's don't play favorites.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's favorite because it's easy. That's why I was suggesting the rain garden up near the house, because you can actually make a really nice-looking garden out of it with, you can use the blue flag, you can use the cardinal flower, because you're going to keep getting water, and you may have to water it if you don't get a lot of rain. But the one at the Lane property, we're tweaking it, but it's got some really nice plants in it. There's even hibiscus. Did you see the hibiscus? I don't know. They've got these native hibiscus plants that like moist with great big white flowers. And turtle head, which has small turtle, like snapdragon flowers. So if you were to try and detain it up, near the source more and make a pretty garden out of it as well, I'd love to get you into doing more native, like rain gardens. It's like I said.
Well, Matt and Maria could always tie it into their nice hot tub. Make a nice little water feature going into the hot tub.
Yeah, definitely.
Just a couple of things. Keep in mind that Mr. Brackett said that he guarantees the plantings.
I like
Okay,
that.
especially again.
They're gonna hold me to it.
On the record.
Usually they only go 2 years. But secondly, before you go, let's say weed whack or take out a bunch of weeds that may look invasive or they look ugly, or that, you think automatically as a homeowner, I need to go in there and, whack them out or pull them out. Give him a call to see if he can give you a little bit of time to identify some of them that are good.
Yeah.
That's one way of learning them, especially when they get leaves on them. So
Well, that's
then,
part of what Jane was helping with too, because
Right.
like we had just moved in, we didn't do anything to
Right.
it because, the homeowners previously did stuff before we moved in, so we didn't
But
really have control over
it
it.
could be a 1 to 2 year process if you're
Oh,
not
yeah.
used to this. So that way those invasives are not gonna stop and lay over on you.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
that's what I was talking about. I said it's going to need some definite, continuous
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
Pulling those weeds by hand it's like I said, an idiot's delight, but it's
Yeah.
necessary. If you don't give them if they can't grow and if they can't build up the stores in their roots, they're eventually going to die.
Yeah. And we want to do that. We want to spend time outside because
Fire
it's so
pit
beautiful.
is
That's
2
sort of the
feet
goal of why we're here in the
after
first place,
that
just to
decennial
make it.
buffer.
But since he's
25. I don't know
volunteering
if
his
that matters,
warranty.
but-
I like that. I wrote it
Well,
down. For life.
also, when we do restorations, we usually require 75% coverage after 2 years in order to get a certificate of compliance. 75% success, not necessarily coverage, success of the plants that are in there.
Meaning they have to 75% of them
They need to be
live.
happy and alive
Yeah.
and successful, yeah.
Because one of the biggest things is that you go through a great restoration that, as Bill has done
Yeah.
many places, and the other party owner doesn't water them, or whoever comes by doesn't water them enough.
Yeah.
So everything just dies, and all the great work that was done is gone.
That's the beauty in having a landscaper who said, I will be
Yep.
coming around and maintaining this for you.
That's right.
It's got harder and harder now because we have to constantly incorporate things that are drought. They will survive in the summers like now. And that's why, again, some of the things that I picked on here, keywords, were drought resistant, drought tolerant. So
So what about the turf? What's that going to be made out of? What kind of grasses?
uh,
Now I'm being a
it's,
pain.
it's
Will it
just,
be drought tolerant? How about that?
well, the only thing, I thought that the sod might be a stretch, but I saw it as it's retaining water. I know you're talking, of course, because right now there's nothing, it's just, it's running
But
off, that hard pan.
what if there's no rain to have the water run off? That's where the problem starts.
But I thought isn't there an understanding that we can actually use the reservoir water to water our yard?
I may have insinuated that, but I think that the commission doesn't agree with me.
It might be against bylaws.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. You
I
never
know you
heard that.
can't take water out of a river, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
Actually, I had a quick question, and we're getting off on the plants over here, but the one piece, the 6x10 deck that you guys are putting in, you said, so I didn't get to walk the site, sorry about that, but you said there's a concrete material that's there right now, like it was something at one point in time?
No, it's just like old footers or something, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. It's not,
It's
I didn't want to-
crumbling.
I didn't
Okay.
want to imply that like it's, covering that area.
Right.
On the edge, like Jane's saying, it looks like a wall, foundation, something, kind of on the outside of it.
So the plan, you said you're gonna put in piers, you mean putting in concrete tubes? Is that what you're talking about? Or you're talking,
Sonotubes, right?
Dig in
You'll have to dig in the
sonotube.
all right,
sonotubes.
so are you gonna be removing whatever's there now? Is that coming out? Or are you gonna be able to like work around it?
We should be able to work around it. I mean, it's kind of far out, what
Okay.
we're talking about. If you get a chance to go look at it,
Okay,
come down and.
Yeah, you should
take a
get an
look.
idea.
actually, right, and that's being done by hand, or are you guys using a backhoe for that?
It has to be done by hand.
Everything's by hand, okay. That's what I was concerned about. Great.
So it's not so much you guys, but I mean, if you were to move tomorrow, if you decided I don't like it here, which you're not going to probably, but if you did, we want to, ensure that the intent of this is followed through with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just one last suggestion. Check with the building department about the flagpole. Some towns have a distance you have to stay away from property lines.
Okay.
I don't know why, but if it falls over,
Okay.
Anything else?
Never heard
Jeff?
of that. Really?
No, I'm good.
Okay, motion to continue till the 19th? That is our next date, isn't it, Diane?
That is.
Okay.
Make that motion.
second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Right,
Opposed? Jeff?
Yep,
Okay, all right, opposed, none. So we'll see you on the 19th. Being 7:10, we have a continuation for 5 Springbrook Road.
Hey, can I call you? I need some help with the business.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you, sir.
Thanks, Bill.
We got a new one.
the old website, you used to be able to find them. I don't know where they are. You can't delete it?
I tried. Well, I'm sure you can somehow.
Right?
I told
Chairman,
Christina.
ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Again, for the record, my name is Bill Buckley from Bay Colony Group. And if you can just give me a second here, I want to move on to my next. Thank you. So we had a meeting, I think 2 weeks ago. We had a hearing on this project. And at the end of the project, we talked about some of the issues and items that the commission would like to see done. So I put together a memo and a copy of the plan that you have in front of you
Just handed it to you.
to discuss it. So we modified the site plan, and the changes to the plan were as follows. And you can, I'll zoom in a little bit here, make it a little bigger. So we eliminated the expanded gravel area. I think one of the issues was down in this area here. We showed an expansion of the gravel area, so that was removed. We reconfigured the stone wall. So this stone wall, if you can kind of follow my hand, wrapped around down into what I'm calling the tail of the, just outside the 25-foot buffer zone. So we pulled that back and left the tail undone while still retaining most of the volume. We've added trees and bushes west of the building, and I'll zoom in on them in a moment, and south of the building. We added a rain garden south of the building to capture runoff flowing down the driveway, as well as coming off the gravel pad that's in the back there. And then we've added a note over here to the west side, notifying the user that any vehicle stored on the pads have to have some type of oil, grease, drip pans placed underneath them. So let me just zoom in here, and maybe we can get a better discussion of a better look at what's happening.
Bill, did you submit a larger version of the paper plan?
Yes.
Did you? Earlier?
Yeah, back on 25th. You didn't get it? Maybe I
The paper
did.
plan, no. I got it by
Electronically?
electronic.
Did I not submit it, Diana?
A paper one? No.
Okay.
I mean, I can print one.
No, that's all right. That's what I just handed out. I'm sorry.
I can't read.
Okay. So let me zoom in on it. So this,
Taking my glasses off.
so the plan was, so let me just show you the plantings. So originally, we were going all the way down here and up here, and then we just left what was there, and we're going to put a seed mixture in the area because a lot of it had been disturbed. So what we've done is we took the discussion from the hearing and did some plantings in this area. So you can look over here to the left and you can see the letters and the numbers. And, what we did is we started at the edge and we planted some cedars. So I think what we talked about was, or at least Judy was talking about, was start at the edge of the clearing, plant some trees, some shrubs, some grasses. That was her, I think, guidance that I took away from the discussion. So it was showing over there on the edge some cedars, and then one down here in the bottom, again in the cleared area. And then next to them, we had these Ds, which are maples in that area, two of those there. And then along the edge, closest to the where the pad and building are sweet pepper bushes, which I think was specifically requested. Again, I think Shane and Judy pointed out that that's what's living out there now, and so we should work with what's there. So you can see, we've pretty much replanted this area over here to the left as you look at the drawing. So on the bottom, on the south of the gravel area, you can see this is the rain garden that we're showing there. And it's a combination of plantings of junipers asters, pepper bush, and 2 red cedars on the edges. So what that's designed, and let me move it over here to the left. This is what the rain garden looks like. So it would come off the gravel storage area, has a little dip in it, and you can see it's the elevations are not that deep, but it's 3 feet deep. And the reason for that is that's the soil mix that the DEP recommends. If you can do 3 feet, you can get credit for cleaning the water. So it consists of hardwood mulch, although I've heard tons of complaints about that. But that's the standard, so we put it there. And then it has a rain garden soil mix, which is over here to the right, which is sand, topsoil, and compost. Then you have some pea stone on top of that, and then at the bottom is the washed crushed stone. So, as the water moves through it, it's cleaning itself till it gets to the bottom and eventually hits, the groundwater regime. And that's what we're showing over here on this side. So those are the changes we made. I think I captured everything that I wrote down. We did replantings on the left, combination of trees, shrubs, low things, grasses. The grass is still stained because it's still a disturbed area. And then we've removed that gravel area that we showed down in this area here, an expansion, and put in the rain garden, with the plantings that you could see that we showed through that area. So that was it. I don't know, I hope I captured everything you talked about. Have any questions?
Yeah, I think that was most of what I recall. Any other comments? Jane?
I thought we asked that the gravel pad be removed, but in fact it's being enlarged.
I think we did ask that, and I said no. And I pointed out that this is an industrial zone. This is an industrial area. Outside storage is not an unreasonable request in an industrial area. So that's what we want to do. We want to have a gravel pad around the outside of the building that they can store things on. And we've tucked everything tight, and we've revegetated the rest of the area. So you're right, we disagreed on that, and this is our proposal.
To
Bill.
store things,
Yes.
old vehicles?
Yes, it could be that or any other outside stuff. That's what they do in that area. This facility, if you've had a chance to go by it, what this company does is they don't do it this isn't what they do for a living. It's pride of their history. So they take the old stuff that they had, the old trucks, the old cranes and backhoes or whatever it is, and they clean them up and they put them on display or they put them in the garage. So yes, it could be that as well. It could be vehicles, it could be also storage of outside materials if they decide to do something else with the building.
So, Bill, how did you say you're addressing any possible oil or,
Really, the only way I could think of on those pads is with drip pans.
where were you going to do those?
It's got a
In the rain
notation.
garden?
Just got a notation here.
And I talked to the owners, and I told them this is a requirement, and they said, well, these things don't drip. I said, well, this is a requirement.
Okay, so that's directly under the vehicles themselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Under the vehicles itself, right, yes. If it ends up being a vehicle, if it ends up being a pallet of something,
Oh.
Say, Bill,
yes.
on the right edge of that rain garden, there's the 274. Is that all sloping down on the right of that? What's keeping anything from the right to come down in the back?
It pitches that way. It pitches, I know it's hard to see, but right here, see this? That's a
Yep.
wetland. So it really, as you come down here, you can see it. The water comes down, but off the site, it's going off to the right and down. So we tried to do this so that it captures what we see today is happening. Does that answer your question?
Well, yeah. So you've got the bituminous parking lot there.
Yes.
At 274.5 or what? But that section there.
Yeah.
Is there nothing, is nothing going to keep, what's keeping it from going off to the right? Or is just the slope such that it's going to go towards the rain garden? Or do we need to put a berm or something there to keep anything on that end going to the rain garden?
This is, actually what I'm showing is there. It's all there. We're not adding any gravel. They've already built that. That was part of the alteration.
I get that. I understand that. But what's preventing things, water, oil, anything from draining off to the, towards the wetland versus going into the rain garden?
All I can tell you is that's what it looks, that is the way the runoff is going today, when we saw it. But what I could do is add a note. I could add a note to the drawing to make sure that they berm that area, so they can add some more gravel on the edge and make sure that anything coming off that bituminous area continues on toward the rain garden. I could add
I
a note to
understand the
that.
rain garden's for what you think is going on, but if something happens or you got, cracking or other stuff, stuff where it settles or something, and to keep it from going down that way.
Yeah, I understand. I can add that in there, and we can have the contractor do that.
Okay.
Would it be better, Bill, what we discussed in Sousa Avenue, the stone along the edge of the road, along that edge, instead of gravel? Gravel would act more of a berm and direct the water.
You mean just some crushed stone along there instead of that?
It'll do the same thing.
Yeah, we could do that. Along the 274 contour.
I think we talked about putting some kind of a swale to direct everything into the rain garden.
Right.
Yeah.
So whatever, something swale, berm, whatever would work, I think would be helpful.
Yeah, I could do that. And what do we say? We were using 3-inch minus stone, right? Is that what we were talking about?
It's a little tight there between the boundary line,
Yeah.
town land, and the edge of that pavement, right in that corner there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want it, yeah, and that's also the edge of the work. You can see the fence,
Yeah.
and here's the fence right here. So we don't want to go any more beyond that. But I think if we just put the stone along the edge there and and just put it along that 274 contour and make sure it just runs into that rain garden. Okay.
What is the edge of whatever that is, the dot, the circle, dot, circle, dot, circle?
That's the silt fence that's up.
Okay.
That's one that's already there.
I want to remind everyone that the wetland in the back corner there is a likely vernal pool.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments, Jane?
We've been saying from the start that the approved plan had natural areas. That's been changed largely, and we wanted a swale or something around there. We did not want leaky vehicles to be put so close to the wetlands.
The-
I know it's neat and clean.
The elevation really doesn't work with this swale, though, because originally, the original plan had the swale going all the way to the front of the
Right.
building.
Right.
And the elevations were
It was goofy
negative.
science, yeah.
So-
But they still have the stormwater outfall beyond the gravel that they've added on the left-hand side, where we had said it would be a good place for a depression area that could be used like a detention basin. Is that back area still going to act like a detention basin as you had intended?
Yep, the whole left side. So that depression is,
Left side where? Bottom part or left?
you're talking about this right here, right?
I'm talking about that, but
Yeah.
you had said that you had created the stone around the back,
Yep. So,
stone wall around the back, so that would act as a detention basin.
yeah, so, all along this side, so look at the contours. This is 271, here's 272. Everything's going this way. It's heading toward the river over here. So this is a low area, this is a depression, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the boulders, they're mostly on site already, and just put them up along the edge here, and when I say the edge, that's the edge that is, if you went out and looked at it, it's already been cleared. But in this particular case, it was cleared to here. We're bringing this into the 25-foot no disturb. So what we're doing is protecting the 25-foot no disturb with these boulders. But the boulders will also act, because we're going to put some dirt against them, and it's also going to act as a detention basin. So this whole area during heavy rains is going to get water, and it will infiltrate out. But the boulders are also acting, this is what we talked about the last time, the boulders are also acting. So sometimes you have people that are absolutely deliberately breaching a buffer, even if it says it is. But a lot of times, people are just unaware and ignorant. The next person who buys this he's not going to know anything about our discussions. He's not going to read any of this. But he's going to see that boulder wall. So he's not going to be able to go beyond it. I think the boulder wall is a nice element. It pushes the limit of construction or the limit of activity further away from the wetland that it even exists today, and it protects the 25-foot no disturb zone all along that edge.
Where's the soil that you talk about being along the boulder wall?
So if you look up here to the right, I know it's hard to read.
And also, I do want to remind everyone, this was an enforcement. This was a cease and desist order. They're supposed to be restoring the site.
It was. It is true. But we filed, the purpose of us filing a notice of intent was to...
Restore the site?
No. I mean, to restore it, but also to make use of it. We're not going to restore it, at least in my mind. Why would we restore it and then come back to you with a notice of intent to do this other work, which, again, in my opinion, I know I don't get to vote, is legitimate, especially we're talking about an industrial zone. This is an industrial zone for the town. This whole area is a commercial zone. It's not on the reservoir or a pristine area.
Well, it butts a priority habitat of rare wildlife.
It does, but it's not in it.
And open space.
Yes. So here's the answer to your question. This is how we would propose to build the wall. It's no more than 3 feet tall, and in the most of it is 2 or less. So we just take some of the boulders, and then this side is the left side as you're looking at it, is toward the wetland, and the right side is the finished grade. We would just put some, it would just be soil up against the wall, so you'd see even less of the wall on that side, and it will act as a basin throughout this whole area. So water will come up, maybe at the very most, elevation 273. It will fill through this area. Up in here, it won't go up onto the pad because that's at 274, and then infiltrate. This outlet down here, this is roof runoff, so it's clean. It's not considered, doesn't have to run through anything, so I didn't run it into the rain garden. That can just be direct discharge because it's considered clean, because it's not mixing with any of the dirt or mixing with any of the asphalt. That's how we came up with, our thought. We are restoring, that's, I think, quite a bit of restoration. We're doing the rain garden as you requested. We pulled this back. And the usable area from the owner's point of view is really being limited to just next to the building. So I would say that we are restoring it.
We can agree to disagree on that.
We can agree to disagree.
We often do.
We often do.
This is true.
Peter, any comments?
I was going to say, compared to what I remember the site was like before the new owner took place of it, it sounded like there was a lot of trash and there was a lot of other, the area was not maintained, especially the way we'd want it maintained next to a vernal area from the stuff that was removed that I understood. And it was a working garage, a semi-working garage prior to that. So I actually feel slightly better that he's not doing active repairs and stuff in there. So as long as he keeps his vintage trucks and such in good order, and make sure there's no hydraulic fluid or oil like seeping out into there. I think this seems like a reasonable compromise.
Thank you. David?
Nope.
Jim? Oh.
Also.
Jeff?
Yeah, no more, I'm good.
Good. Everybody want to make a motion?
Move it, we close the public hearing for 5 Springbrook Road, DEP 157-598.
There's a second.
Second.
Before we vote, any comments from the audience on this? Okay. All right. All in favor?
All right.
All right, thank you very much.
Opposed? None. Okay. Thank you.
Jane, they don't have to stay.
What?
They don't have to stay.
No, they just are having fun.
Ah.
They can watch as long as they want.
Patriots are not going to be fun to watch, so this
Future
is going to be a lot
member.
better.
I know, it's bad, we're losing.
What's the score?
6-3.
6-3, yeah.
Oh, okay. Hey, that's not bad.
We scored.
Yeah. Being 7:15, we have a continuation for 54 Neponset Heights Avenue.
Oh, before Bill leaves, I'd love to hear about his previous, perhaps, surveying of that property. Did you guys install any kind of survey markers or anything on 54 Neponset Heights?
54 Neponset Heights.
I don't know.
I have his plan.
You do?
I'm an engineer, so I don't know. The survey-
Okay, good. Thanks,
Rich-
Peter.
Rich handles the survey stuff.
Run, quick, run.
I have revised plans,
Okay.
hand them out.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Hey, guys, thank you.
Night.
Thank you. You got name for the record, please?
Yes, good evening, my name's Peter Lavoy, I work with Landmark Site Design. I was here at the last conservation meeting and the commission brought up some concerns, so I have revised the plan and the plan is in front of you. So I can go through the changes. So basically what I did is I looked at redoing the septic system. So I was able to shrink the septic system a little bit. So I was able to move the house closer to the street, roughly around 5.5 feet towards Neponset Heights Ave, because I was able to reduce the size of the leach field. I removed, if you look in the back, I removed the rain garden at the bottom of the slope and all of the grading that was on that slope. Previously, I had some grading on the slope because of the back of the house. We were trying to get a yard, but by moving the house forward, we were able to get rid of any grading in the backyard over there, so I have done that. I did adjust the buffer zone and the buffer zone because of the retaining wall on the abutting property. I think that's 52 Neponset Ave. There was a retaining wall, and the wetland basically follows that retaining wall on that property. So that, in turn, I revised the 25
the 50 and the 100-foot buffer because of that. I did add the floodplain elevation to the plan, which was basically 271.4. That has been added to the bottom of the slope. I also revised the erosion control detail. My erosion control detail shows a silt sock, a silt fence, and a snow fence. So to show, then that erosion control will be along the entire project, so you'll know where the limit of work would be. I did also add a note on that slope back here, in this area here, and to the wall. We added a slope that we would remove the invasive species in that area. So we have talked to someone, so someone could go out there from a nursery that could identify the invasive species, but we also would work with the commission on that as well.
Now, how do they propose to remove the invasives?
I would say that it would be all done by hand.
Okay, all right,
No machinery would be used in that area.
okay.
Just because of the slope in the backyard. And then also, I have staked the property out there. That was staked, and the house was also staked, so whoever did the site walk would be able to see where the house was placed on the lot. I have a survey that was done in 2003 by Bay Colony Group. The surveyor emailed me the plan with the markings, and I'd like to give this to the commission.
I would like to have it. 2003. Cool, thank you.
Okay, we found.
So basically what I did is I went out there, found, because of the help of the other surveyor, verified the property corners, also verified some additional points that he had staked along the property line. So I went out there this weekend and also marked so the commission would know where they were, and I painted up the nail. There was a nail in a walk that he had placed.
Mm-hmm.
Just for clarification, at the last meeting, the attorney, I think, of the neighbor made a comment about the nails that were out there. Those nails were not property corners. They were control points that I used to locate the house, do a topography as well. But I tried to make it clearer when I went out there and locate his points. So I also, located them and staked them. And that's basically it. Those are the changes that I had made through your recommendation and your concerns. And then any questions?
Oh, this is for the abutting property, yeah?
Correct. Yep.
Oh, okay, I didn't get that part.
I'm sorry. That was the survey there was for. I don't know what your address.
56.
56. 56. Okay. That was for 56.
Okay. Jane, any comments?
Well, Bob and I went out there today and had questions about where the bounds were. I've got the old plan from
Yeah.
1906.
Right. That's not going to help.
Not really, no. And we tried to figure out what was what and who was who, and I think it's great that they moved it back 5 feet, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like the proposed deck is going to be covering the current concrete patio, is that true?
That is true.
Now, what about the proposed recharge area? Will the hillside need to be dug to install that?
No, it's right. That'll also be up behind the house as well. That
Right,
concrete.
but it won't be underneath the deck as I had
It
suggested?
will be under the deck a little bit. Yes.
A little bit.
Well, I don't want to keep it too close, just because
Yeah.
you're taking that roof runoff and concentrating it
Sure.
into that recharge.
Okay.
I mean, the
makes
concrete
sense.
pad is going to be removed from underneath. There's going to be, under the deck, there's going to be no concrete pad there.
Cool. So, let's see.
And like I said at the last meeting, no trees need to come down.
We did discuss a little bit about the large pine tree that's pretty much on the boundary, or perhaps on this side.
Right, but now that I moved the house forward, I don't need to.
That's great. As you know, trees during construction, if you stay outside of the drip zone with heavy machinery, it should be okay. And there are a couple of large branches that are coming from that pine tree, and I discussed with the applicant the possibility of cutting those branches because they overhang his property. And when a branch does overhang your property, you can remove it. It's just, that's what the law says. And also in the front, there's a large oak that has a lot of branches that are leaning towards the property. And my concern would be that it might be a good idea to cut a couple of the large branches in order to preserve, because some of the roots are going to be damaged by the amount of work that's going to need to be done in that area for the garage. And to the greatest extent possible, not putting any heavy machinery over where the roots are. And the roots basically go under the canopy as far as the branches go. But in my mind, I'm thinking, rather than run things over it and having it die in 3 years, which is often the case, because it's compacted and all, and the roots are obviously going to need to be cut as well. So, you know, and when you have plants, if you're going to chop off some of the roots, you want to chop off some of the upper part so that it will kind of balance things out.
Just because I don't know, if we cut them, if we trimmed it this fall, and then next spring is when the root damage might occur, is that the right timing for it, or?
Honestly, I don't know. It might not be a bad idea to
To
get
make it
some.
smaller before you start hurting the roots?
Yeah, or maybe like if you think bonsai, with the bonsai trees, what they do is they cut back the roots and they cut back the upper branches as well.
At the same
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
At the same time? You think?
Yeah, but I'm not an expert. I think if you get somebody who's a really good tree person that knows their stuff, I would, you know, because that's a really neat tree. I wouldn't want it to die myself. And as well as the maple tree that's over near the shed right now, or the garage. You just want to make sure that, if it were me,
Yeah.
try to protect them because they're holding everything together and they're giving you shade and all that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, we like them too, so we don't.
Good,
want them.
good. They're pretty. They're nice. They're an asset, really. You can't plant trees that big.
You're right.
And they're also taking up a lot of the water that is going to hit the ground, and so it doesn't go into your basement.
Right.
No, but it looks good otherwise. And we talked about the native plants that you have down below, and it looks like maybe putting tags on the natives rather than the invasives, because there's so many invasives, would be a good idea. But it's interesting when you get rid of invasives and you allow the natives to reestablish, you can get some really cool surprises coming out.
Well, we quite like that sort of naturalized look and recognize that on that slope, you're not gonna, we don't want them on the grass there, for sure.
No.
So this gentleman that I was speaking to yesterday and actually last week said, yes, he would go through and then we would get the invasives out and then start deciding how we would work around what's already there in order to fill in to make it the right, you know.
Yeah, because basically an exempt activity is removal of invasives, but you need to know how to do it. And planting native plants by hand, basically, that's basically being a good steward to your property, and it is actually, what's the word? It's exempt under the Wetlands Protection Act, if you want to really dig into that.
Right.
So, you know, I've been doing that in my steep slope forever. I'm curious about the steps, though. How are the steps going to be made? Do you know?
They were granite and gravel.
Granite and
sto-
gravel?
Yeah, natural stone and
Nice.
gravel.
Okay.
Similar to, you know, the next door. That's basically what we want.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else for Najane?
I can't think of anything else.
Peter? Comments?
No, I'm comparing it from last week, and I can see how you slid everything forward. I think it's going in the right direction.
Yeah.
David?
No problem.
Jim?
Oh, all set.
Jeff, any comments?
Question. So within the 25-foot buffer zone, is there any work going to be done as far as planting, cleaning, clearing it all, or is that going to be remaining the same as we've seen it now? I know in the earlier plan there was a rain garden. I'm not sure if that's.
Can you get a little bit closer to your mic? You're fading out.
So I'm not sure if that's I know there was plans on an earlier plan. There's rain garden. I'm just wondering if we're not doing that, or if what's going on. Is it just the removal of the invasives, or is there any other work to be done as far as vegetation down, within the 25-foot, any restoration or any cleaning of any invasives?
We were just planning on removing the invasives, that's it. No other work is going to be proposed down there.
Okay.
Okay. Any comments from the audience? Questions?
Yeah.
Why don't you come up and use the mic so we can. You can use this one over here. It will work. Again, just for the secretary, your name.
Horace Jones, 56 Neponset Heights Ave. So I assume nothing's going to be done with the bottom wall at this point?
That's correct.
That is correct.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. The other thing was, on the construction sequence, you had mentioned, originally there was something in there to the effect that all trees would be removed, and it took it up.
Plan that was taken off.
Yeah, that was taken off. Do you have to put in to that sequence that all the trees will remain?
I'm not proposing any trees. I mean, that could be a condition that the commission, that could be a condition that the commission wants, if they want to make a comment, about tree removal, but
Okay, could you, I'm sorry. Okay.
Sorry. I mean, I can add that, but, I mean, I'm not proposing to remove any trees.
All right.
Maybe tree protection conditions can be added to the order of conditions,
Okay.
and we've got some boilerplates.
Right, I think I've done that before when I did 46 Neponset. We protected trees down there
Okay.
with the snow fence. The Goodmans,
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I had when I did.
This is a little bit
Yeah, it's a
tighter
little
in
bit-
some ways,
Mhm.
but I think we can work around it. They don't want the trees to die, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of junk invasive type bushes along the side. If you're looking at the house on the left-hand side, and those are small trees, large shrubs, a lot
Okay.
of those will be removed, right? They're
I don't know what they are, but
they're kind of pretty, but I think they're invasives that we don't want to encourage.
right.
We go home. Tell them to go home.
Anything else?
Yeah, the last thing was on the property line. I'm still disputing it, but let's just say at this point that it's correct. But I mean, I've got somebody working on it, because I know that one of those markers is incorrect, in my opinion.
Okay, which one?
The little nail in the middle by the walkway.
Okay.
The one, is that the one that I painted up?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you have a diamond.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Horace, have you seen this? Did you see
No, I've
this?
seen it.
Because that's yours, right?
Yeah, that was for the, but I have a better one than that, but see, the thing, where I have the dispute is when they staked it out, meaning Bay Colony, I was a foot away from the walk with the stakes. When they drew the plan, somehow, and this plan in 2003, believe it or not, I have no record of ever requesting it. And I've gone through my checks for that year and everything else. We never paid for it. So, I mean, I don't know where it came from.
That's bizarre.
So, but let's just assume at this point that it's correct.
Because he contacted me.
Yeah, I
and
know,
he
and I
said-
contacted him.
Right, he sent that to me,
but-
I went out there, I found everything that he marked on that plan.
There was one marker on the front, on the left, or would be on the right side facing the house in the front that he couldn't identify.
Yep.
But if you go to the other side of the yard, on my side, and see the pin or the nail that's there, that they put there, and it comes across at an angle going towards the left, okay? So when you look at the one you have on my left side of my yard, it goes to the right, and it's supposed to be parallel.
Well, there is a little arc. It's
but
a
there's
straight
nothing
line
on-
and also an arc there.
But there's no arc on any of the prints.
Okay, I don't know.
Okay,
This is,
I
this
mean,
is the original plan that was
Yeah.
done eons ago. And
have
your frontage, your frontage is only 33 feet and 8/10 feet as opposed to the rest of them, which are around 40, 41.
Well, you have to move further back, because when that was drawn, there was no road.
Oh.
And that property went across,
That's what I thought. Yeah.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
So the property is supposed to be somewhere between 40 and 41.
Well, it goes to 41 at the back, 40 and a half at the back.
Then it's 40 and something in the front. For 40 feet. and
It
some.
looks like you got the short end of the stick on your property. All the rest of them were about equidistant width, and yours is narrower at the front, which may be at the cross the road at this point, but that's what it looked like.
But, okay. I'm gonna get it clarified,
Good.
but right now.
And let the town know about it too, because I know this has been a bugaboo.
Okay.
But anyway, the other problem, and I don't think this is a conservation problem, but I think the new home is going to be within 5 feet of my property line, based on this.
Okay, that's
We all-
the zoning.
Yeah, we don't handle property.
Okay, I just
line
wanted
disputes, And then
to,
that's a
Thankfully.
zoning issue, yeah.
We don't deal with it, thankfully.
but that's all I have.
Okay. And I see we have some people on Zoom. Any comments? Wait a minute, your volume. Can we get some volume there, Mr. Beck?
You're on mute.
Okay. Okay.
To unmute.
Yeah, they're not muted on their side, but we're still not hearing them.
Can you try again?
Yep, that's better. Can you, make it as loud as you can, yeah.
Go ahead.
It's very quiet.
Quiet.
Very quiet, yeah.
Can you speak up?
Yeah. I don't know.
That's better.
That's better.
Okay. This is Cindy and my husband, Henry. We are at the concept. Had mentioned about the retaining wall when he started his I couldn't hear.
Can you hear? Okay.
No, something about a retaining wall.
What's
Yeah,
that?
you're going in and out. You're fading in and out.
Is there's a retaining wall between our house and 54 the concept on their west side.
Okay.
Are you going to do anything about that retaining wall?
The retaining wall. on
Is
the-
that down at the water, or is it between the houses?
Between the houses.
Between the,
No, yeah, there's a retaining wall near the concrete pad
yes, yep.
up here. So basically,
Yep.
that concrete wall is gonna be removed, and it's just gonna be graded out onto our property. So that retaining wall, that existing retaining wall will be removed, and it would just, There will be no retaining wall on that side of the house. It's just a small little retaining, it's like a 3-foot or 2.5-foot high retaining wall.
I thought it was higher than that, but,
And it's just gonna be removed and graded out.
okay.
Could you show that grading on a plan?
Yes, it is on the plan.
It's on the newest plan?
Yep.
Does that answer your question?
See where you see, where you see 284, there's a line right near it says zone. That line's coming into the foundation. That 284 is gonna come into the foundation, and the retaining wall is gonna be removed.
But that's not the foundation there, that's just the deck.
No, the deck is, yeah, but it goes all, that 284 goes all the way where the 6-foot dimension is. It goes all the way in. It's just gonna wrap into the retaining wall. I mean, wrap into the back of the house.
So is the cement pad going to be removed, is the cement pad going to be removed? And if
Yes.
so, what are you going to put underneath the deck?
Just crushed stone.
Good, okay. So you're just going to meet the grade?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, it's gonna come down a little bit, but we're gonna meet that grade in that area, yes. Yep.
Okay, that wasn't clear.
Does that answer your question?
I have more questions. So, I think the stake says the stake on the retaining wall is like that stake is the front of the house. I mean, for the water. So, how is it in the middle of the retaining wall, which means not just the deck, part of the house will be on the concrete.
Well, I think the stake that's out there is the corner of the house, correct? Is that what you're saying?
Right, but that's in the middle of the retaining wall.
Right, the retaining wall is gonna be gone, and the foundation of the house is gonna act as a wall.
So I'm just concerned if they're going to affect our part of the land, if they're going to move or not.
So how is it going to affect your property?
I'm just asking.
Oh, you want to know how, if it will affect yours?
Right.
Okay, so yeah, so when you remove the concrete pad and the retaining wall, you're having the foundation for the house is going to be over part of where that concrete the wall is and the concrete pad. So can you explain that a little bit? I guess that's what they're asking.
Right, so you're removing the existing retaining wall, and you're putting in a foundation wall, which is concrete. So the foundation wall is going to act as the retaining wall, and the grade is not going to change, and it's not going to have an effect because the foundation is going to be acting as the retaining wall. You're not going to need a retaining wall there anymore.
So do you have some concerns that you're trying to avoid or just trying to understand?
I think it's a little bit both.
So if you're so what are you trying to avoid so we can maybe answer those questions?
I don't know if that's going to affect the land structure of our property. That's just one question. Yeah.
Yeah, so from what we see as the footprint, the existing house position is going to basically be, the limit of that is basically going to be at the same point as the retaining wall. Is that correct?
That is correct. And the new foundation is roughly 12 feet from their foundation, which currently that's what the dimension is now.
So the position of the new foundation is essentially the same distance from the property line as the existing retaining wall.
That is correct, because we're holding that side of the house with the new foundation.
Okay.
He still lose it.
Does that explain it to you?
Concern I have is the wall between to my house and Jackson's house. My side, okay, is higher, and the Jackson's house is lower. So when you remove that retaining wall, then concern is it's going to affect, because side time is going to, some negative impact on the side of the structure, the land. Again, because my side, from this picture, you cannot tell which side is higher, which side is lower.
So so you want to know the elevation of your property, your house. So as I understand it, and the contractor can or the architect can correct me. As I understand it, the grade of the existing land on the property we're talking about isn't changing. If it's changing, it's going to be graded down towards their property and not yours.
That is correct. The grade around the existing house, we're gonna try to drop the foundation so the grade stays the same along both sides of the houses. In the top of, you know what I mean, the top of concrete will change.
Yep.
Yeah, and other thing is the two properties, they your width may or may not be set over here, but the width of the property to the border of my house. So that means it's going to in the house it's going to be shorter. Your house, but my understanding from what you say is, you do not increase the width of the house toward my house. Indeed, it is.
I think a suggestion that you meet with the neighbors and try to give them a three-dimensional look as to what that is going to look like when it's completed and after it's backfilled. I think they're concerned about the water maybe shifting, coming down and shifting more towards them.
Right.
And onto their property, and maybe it might shift back.
Right, but I mean, the way it's gonna be graded, it's,
I think you need
okay.
to do it personally.
Okay, I
With
can do
some
that.
type of three-dimensional look, so that they get
Yeah, I
an
mean,
idea. Plus, during construction,
Yep.
as you know, the backfilling doesn't get compacted down, which will make it look like it's not shedding away from the house.
Okay.
It should be along the foundation.
No, I can meet you out at your house if you want.
Yeah, okay. Yes, please. So, in summary, it's two concerns. One is the grade. Another concern, the second concern is, before between the new house to the property line is about, let's say, 6.5 or 7 feet. Now, in that corner, it's going to be 6 feet. So it's kind of extended the width toward my house. So it's two concerns I have.
So let me, so Jane and Bob, so the questions that we're talking about, they really don't impact us. Is that correct? As far as Conservation Commission?
Well,
it's a 100-foot buffer zone area.
primarily, it's probably planning board as far as elevations go, but we might as well, try to resolve everything here if we can.
No, I know. I get that. But I mean, David's suggestion is, I think the next best step is to have them meet directly to talk about what's going on.
I agree, absolutely. I think they would prefer that as well. So.
I can do that.
Plus another suggestion is that, okay, you backfill,
Yep.
and then you're gonna bring loom on top of that, which could be another 6 inches. That could raise it. So there should be some understanding that the backfill is gonna be lower to accommodate that additional soil for
Right.
the grass to grow on that side.
Right. I mean, honestly, I think, yeah. There's no grass on that side anyways. It's all like crushed stone along the side of the house, but
Whatever,
that's
just-
fine. I can meet you out there. I can meet you Saturday if you want at like 10 o'clock. I can do that. That'd be fine.
Okay,
Sounds good.
all right.
Bring a three-dimensional picture.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
with that in mind, continue till the 19th.
Make that motion.
Yep.
Need a DEP
Second.
number.
Well, because I want the neighbors
They
resolved.
skipped you and they went
Other
to the
than that-
next one. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Don't tell her
Okay.
that.
That's what they're-
Some of the
Well, I don't know if
comments
there's
of one
somewhere,
neighbor
if there's
have
something they're
nothing to do with
waiting
us.
for.
Yeah, but,
Maybe you ought to contact them and see if there's something
Yeah.
they're waiting
I'm
for.
gonna call tomorrow.
And water.
Because they, on the list, they skipped you and went to the next one.
I can see you Saturday. At 10 o'clock I'll be there. Okay.
So tight there.
That's not for us to figure out.
Does the commission have any other concerns? I mean, besides,
no, I think you've done a good job moving it away, and also the fact that the invasives are going to be removed
can't close
and
the hearing
everything
without a
done by
number.
hand down in the buffer zone.
You can
Okay.
update
I
the
think that's
plans or
a
whatever.
great improvement.
okay, I mean, I don't have a DEP file number anyways, so you guys
Okay.
can't close anyway,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
Bob?
Yes.
I will put together a draft order of conditions for the project to get it moving along, if you'd
Okay.
like, for the next meeting.
okay.
So I'll make that motion to continue.
We try to
There,
please.
second.
Second.
Thank you
Motion's
very,
been made and seconded to continue till the 19th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None?
thank you.
Okay,
With
thank
zoning
you.
board. I mean, I
Right
can-
now
I
it's
can,
6 to 3 with,
Thank you, bye.
with 4
Yep,
minutes
thank
left
you.
in the third. We fast forward this meeting so I can see the last quarter.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
I'm recording this. I'm
Oh, you
watching
are?
from the beginning.
I mean, if this is gonna be the final
Anything else
plan,
from,
Yes.
bring that back to zoning.
Quickly,
Better be important.
the 45 Lakeview Pavilion,
yep,
they've submitted, Bill submitted the
16th,
revised plan,
the
which
Thursday
actually is going
before
to have
this next meeting.
less impact than the approved plan.
Well, I mean,
So according
it's just a
to, I didn't
technicality
include all
that's
the big
keeping it
long
open
thing.
at this point.
But if the commission can make a determination that
they'd meet
it
on the
is
15th,
considered
and
an insignificant change, then,
the only
hello?
reason-
A minor change? Then we don't
The
need
only
a,
reason they're leaving.
Then the
this
minutes can reflect that.
okay,
open, if we can get the number.
so be it.
Have the minutes reflect that. The pavilion, the changes that the pavilion have are
Insignificant.
insignificant. I don't think we'll even write anything, just have it in the minutes, but you guys should probably, make a motion and a vote.
I think
Okay.
we should have some reference that there's another plan that was submitted, because the orders right now are the last plan.
This is basically less than,
Right, I know, but there should be someplace.
Well,
So this-
reference the.
we'll throw the minutes into the plan, into the
This is a
file.
landscaping plan, it's not like an engineer plan. That's what they say.
Right. Well, this will be in the file.
Okay, well, we should reference that plan then.
Okay, referencing the plan that is hardscape and landscape revisions to the Lakeview Pavilion by MF Landscape dated 9/27/20.
2020. So be it,
That's the most recent revision.
okay. So you want to make that motion, Mr. Paca?
I move that we accept the revised plan for Lakeview, 55 Lakeview Road, DEP 157595, and that it has been determined by the commission that the revisions are insignificant, and that, for the record, this is the latest plan that has to be abided by.
Yeah, what we can put in the minutes is we can put reviewed information and then list it.
Okay.
So we'll have the paper, the crumb trail.
okay,
Do I hear a second?
second.
Second. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
None.
Is this the
All right.
same Lakeview?
Anything else?
Yes. Beaumont Pond Dam, order of conditions.
Oh, okay.
So basically what I did is I made a finding regarding limited project for the dam, and I just basically did boilerplate.
Okay.
So it's just basically a boilerplate with a couple of blips about what the project was and temporary alterations that were listed in the notice of intent.
So have you got that ready to sign, or?
Yes. That's why I was late, because I was nitpicking. I don't know, I couldn't find any reference to dam maintenance anywhere, so I just figured I'd put the regular boilerplate-ish stuff.
Want to make a motion to accept? Jim?
Make a motion to
Sign
accept
the order of
sign the
conditions.
order of conditions for the, for DEP 157596, Beaumont Pond Dam.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? None?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Not yet, one more, please.
Please.
Our friend Mr. Spear, Greg Spear, has asked for an extension permit for his ancient order of conditions for Stonehurst Royalty Trust. I think that there were 2 lots left, and one of which he's building his own home. So Diana said that the last time it was extended, it was just 1 year?
Just 1 year. You did it last year for 1 year. So now.
This is from a 1996 filing, when they used to incorporate all of the lots into
Yep.
the infrastructure
Okay.
in the plan, which I don't like, but it is what it is.
Before your time, you don't worry about it.
Exactly.
So he wants another year? Is that what you're?
Does it say?
Did he pay a fee?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Make a motion to
Last extended, 10/15.
grant a further extension of 1 year.
This doesn't even say.
Order of conditions issued on 157270,
Doesn't even
Stonehurst
say.
subdivision.
They don't ask if they
Do I
want
hear a
1 year or
second?
3 year. That's for you to
Second.
decide.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we give him
Aye.
a year?
Yeah.
Opposed? None?
Extended until
It's got
1 year.
10/15/21.
a year.
21.
Now?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Please.
Peter?
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
Wait, gotta sign.